Hi, everyone. Welcome to Adobe Live Holiday Week. If you've been here with us, thank you for being here because I know today was a complete video extravaganza. And I can already see some folks on the chat. I have a nice question for y'all in there. So let me check it out. Let me see what's up. So I have Oliver, I have Pixie Pew, I have Robert. So my question on the chat is, what is your favorite hot holiday drink? I will tell you mine midstream, but I want to know yours first. My name is Cyn Lagos. I am a visual mentor focused on graphic design, photo, and film. And today, particularly, we're going to dive into Adobe Premiere and we're going to talk about how we can create a 2023 recap, which is so awesome because it's that time of year, right? So we're going to have a little bit of nostalgia, a little bit of gratitude for the wonderful year we've had. And that's the way, first and foremost, I want you to approach it. And we're going to look at some Adobe Premiere techniques that we can explore. So let's look at some of the resources that we have available and let's jump right in. All right. So as you know, this stream doesn't come without presents. We have some really cool giveaways throughout all of the streams that are available just for you to have fun, to enjoy it, and most of all, for you to try it out. There is no learning without the practice part, right? Everything is theory until we practice it ourselves and remix it and play with it and experiment. So I have available for you a remixable template in Adobe Express. These are our chapter title pages. So I included a few that have different designs, but you're welcome to change it to your own typography of choice, to your own color palette. If you celebrate a different holiday also, you're welcome to try it out and change it up. I would love to see your remixable template. Ultimately, these are going to act as title pages for our Adobe Premiere video, right? And this is a great way. I oftentimes tend to approach a story much like the classic old, way of telling stories, which is through books, right? So think about them in that way as well. So I'm going to jump here real quick into Adobe Premiere and get started. But first, let's jump into our file assets. Now, I don't want you to get scared. These are my file assets. I decided to look back at my year and see what I've done, what's so cool, let's look back, And so this is my folder formatting. So the way I've created it is pretty simple, and we're just gonna touch base here so you understand this. It is a pretty vital part of creating videos in Adobe Premiere. You gotta be organized. It's like there's no skipping that. It's really interesting that way because I tried skipping it. It's impossible. So we have here, in my case, I've had an incredible year of travel. I promise you I did not plan it. I've been really, really, really blessed on that end. And I'm really, really happy to say that I've traveled to all these places in the United States this year for work, which is incredible on two ends, right? For me, and to be able to explore some places that I've never seen before, and also for me to just get my business to grow this year, right? So I've organized all this in horizontal videos, vertical videos, and photos. So you're welcome to use photos in any given moment. So for example, for those of you who joined us in Adobe Max, let me see. For those of you who joined us in Adobe Max, you probably know what this is about. This is an incredible time to be in Adobe Max this year. So many things we learned and an incredible community as well. So as we're going to peruse through some of these videos, but I just wanted you to know that you can organize your folders based on events that have happened throughout the year. I know it's a little tricky to look back. It's very nostalgic. But if you think about it in terms of activities that you want to showcase, maybe you want to showcase the different kinds of works that you've done. So maybe you can have folders based on projects in that case. That would be great. Now, the ones you definitely want to have is sound effects, I tend to put my soundtracks in there, my sound effects. And in visuals, I tend to put anything that is the chapter graphics, things like this JPEG that I just provided. All right, so that said, let's jump into Premiere. All right, if you're still here with me, folks. Oh my God, Phil. Hi, Phil. So I'm reading the chat on Behance, and I think we have a moderator, weird word, moderator showing me the ones on YouTube. So definitely say hello, ask your questions along the way. I will be answering them. All right. So we're here in Adobe Premiere, and you have an available template that I also provided for Adobe Premiere. So check out the chat. There should be a link to that. Now, what you're going to find here is going to be the sequence. So we have our sequence file. It is often the number one thing that gets lost. Do not lose it. Put it in a folder is really, really important, right? So we're going to double click that. And in my case, I already have it open. I did create a mini animation that you already have access to. So it looks like this. Cool, right? So that's just for our JPEG intro. In my case, I exported it as a PNG. I think it's a higher quality in that way. And so before we get started, just make sure we have the same exact workspace. So go here and in Windows Workspace, vertical. And that's what you see here in front of you. So that's where I'm at. So now back to those amazing folders within all these cool assets, right? So let's look at our options here. I already have downloaded my sound effects, my SFX, where I keep my soundtracks available here. And I'm just gonna double click and go find the remaining of my assets. For you, it could be projects of the year. Maybe you made a project a month. Hey, listen, if you didn't prepare for 2023, that's fine. This could be inspiration for the next year. How to collect a nice variety of things for 2024, right? That could be a really cool project too. So one for each month. I challenge you. That would be super fun. I'm challenging myself. So I have Los Angeles here. I have Miami, New York, San Francisco. My gosh, amazing 2023 year. So I already downloaded these. I'm going to make sure to select these folders. And what's so cool is that because I already organized them, I can import them and everything's going to be within those folders. So I'm going to just make sure I have them all. That looks right. Sound effects. Okay, cool. Import. So hopefully that in itself is, that kind of transparency is helpful as well. Let me make sure we're seeing everything good. Okay. Hopefully that transparency is helpful as well, because I want you to, I don't know, it's some of these things are a little bit ambiguous, and I took a long time to get to know them because they're not the prettiest parts of Adobe Premiere, but they're just as important, right? Organization within your files. I'm going to label these maybe cerulean. These names are always funny to me. What is cerulean? I never know. I just click on something else to change the color palette. All right, so we have all of these colors. So let's talk about the different ways that we can include these clips in here. So now we know we have chapters, but there are 3 ways that we can start implementing our design. So I like to think when it comes to storytelling, I like to think of pacing, right? So my pacing can be dictated based on, let me go here because this is a little chat moment. My pacing can be dictated by a soundtrack. It can be dictated by your voiceover, right? Or it can be in itself something that you wanted in chronological order. In this case, we're going to guide ourselves by our soundtrack. So let's review how we would go about getting our soundtrack. I didn't provide that for you because that's definitely something you got to kind of seek, make sure it's your own, but I'll give you some guidelines here to get to know it better. Okay, so for me, I have a plugin for Envato Elements. This is where I'm getting my soundtracks from currently. And even if you're not getting them from here, what I want you to look at is things like this. So for example, I'm going to do a quick search and search for cinematic holiday, happy, right? So these are just keywords to find different songs. And I'm not going to play them here. I don't think they're allowed to be played. I don't know, until they're downloaded. So I want you to look at the waveforms. All of these waveforms tend to be different from each other. So what I'm looking for oftentimes is waveforms that are either consistent or waveforms that have suspense. They're climbing up. They look like a mountain, right? So some of these really play that role. So even if it doesn't do it right at the start, it can potentially have that within the chorus. So look out for that as you're trying to build momentum, because we're creating a reel and reels are very short. So we want the best part of our story. Oliver says, I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Oliver says, cerulean is the blue of a clear sky. Ah, okay. New meaning. Got it. We have Arshia saying lovely work. Oh, I don't know who said this. Let's see. Phil says, love that you can travel and work. Brings me equal amount of joy. It really is, isn't it? Like, we're very lucky to be in a field that could travel and work. And folks that we work with embrace this concept, embrace this idea, and really nurture our creativity that way. Yes, it's definitely a blessing. So hopefully when you go seeking back to the soundtracks, when you're looking for your soundtracks, you're looking at that waveform and you're downloading something that's going to fit for your 30-second mark, for your 1 minute mark. You know, that's highly, let me get out of here. That's highly based on the fact that, on your engagement. So check out your engagement. Maybe 29 is your engagement. 15 is your engagement. For me, tends to be 1 minute, 30 seconds. So there you go. Experiment with that, right? So, but at the end of the day, a song is as long as the song is. And the best part is always going to dictate that. So let's download. We have a few downloaded here. We have Cinematic. So let's play this one so you can see the waveform. It has that slow momentum and then it climbs up. Right? Slow, quiet, and then it really climbs, right? You can see how that expands. Now, work with me, chat. If there's some volumes, you let me know in the chat. Y'all always look out for me. So let's see. Let's drop that into audio 1 in the timeline. So that's an audio 1 right there. Just by looking at it, I can already tell that the audio is pretty high. So I'm going to hit G, the letter G as in, oh my God, I was going to say gato in Espanol, as in cat in Spanish. G as in gain, right? So adjust the gain. I usually put it to like -12. So see how that waveform kind of dropped real quick? Look how high it was. Oh my gosh, that would have been really loud. All right, so let me know if y'all hear that, because that was beautiful. That was a beautiful intro. So you can see already how it builds up. And so at the moment, we don't have any visuals. We're definitely dictating ourselves based on the audio. So what we're going to do is listen to this audio and set some markers. Now, markers are really valuable because they can begin helping us determine what areas we want to cut our clips to, so they match the soundtrack. So follow me here. This is going to be really, really cool. So let's go to the beginning of our clip. You can hit home, you can hit I to get into the end point of your area, your work area. And let's listen to this song. Now, very important, click out of the audio so that the markers end up on the timeline, not on the audio. That's going to be important. So follow me here. Let's listen to this, make this bigger. Whenever I'm live, I kind of forget what my shortcut is. There you go. So it's Alt plus to make it that big, okay? Minus plus to expand our work area. All right, so let's follow here. We're outside and let's play this. Missed that one right there. But you can see it gained this momentum. The marker started going faster. So I think I missed the marker there. Okay. So you saw, because I was selecting the audio, it marked it on the audio. So that's that little marker right there. So hopefully you can see that there. I think that was too fast. Those markers right there were too fast. I like this one here. So if you have a hard time following the music, one hack that you can try, or pro tip, is try to go every four pacing, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should be very close to most songs in general. So let's see. Let's keep going here. Oh, did it again. Got to make sure to be on the timeline. I love that end. And even if you're not working with markers, you got to know anything that lasts long, right? Anything that lasts over a minute, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, forget minutes, seconds, it's important, right? So 1 second, we want to get a look at it, but 2 seconds, now we're really paying attention to it. We're working very, very minute work area. So that's something to think about. So now that we have these markers, hopefully these markers are fairly close. I'm breaking a sweat. So I'm getting ready for this part, because this is the part that I love. And honestly, video editing doesn't have to be that intimidating. There is really, really cool pro tips here that I hope you can take with you, so that you feel more at ease with Adobe Premiere, because these things make it simple, make it really easy. So let's go into New York. And let's go into the vertical videos. Let's go in here. We are currently in our bin where all of our assets live, right? So let's make this bigger. Let's increase that view by going down here to this button to increase that view. Also increase that slider. Now we can really see our work area, right? And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna start prioritizing based on topics. So a way to tell a story, especially when it comes to traveling, right? We're talking about how do we get there? Where do we go? Who is it? Who took you there? Like who is this person going there? And what was the activity? So if you have all of those, you have a pretty coherent story to tell. If you don't have all of them, at least you have some of the most important ones. It will still work out, right? So in this case, some of these are not quite in order, but we're going to use that concept of topics to organize our files, to organize our clips before we drop them into the timeline. So let's start here. We're going to go into these, and I can see this is transportation. I'm going to drag it to the left. And this is location, establishing location. Drag it to the left after that one. Establishing location, establishing location. I mean, it's New York. New York is arguably the subject matter, right? The hero of the shot. So let's continue here. So location, that looks good. And then we have subject, which is me. I'm right here hanging out, taking a photo. Then we have another person here, which I took a video of in Central Park. And then in the subway, we have these folks playing music. So that's really cool too. And we have a restaurant activity there as well. So arguably some of these are subject and activity all at once, right? But guide yourself this way and potentially you get to have something that starts to feel like it makes sense in that way. So now the next thing we need to do here is to set our in and out points. A quick look at the chat first and foremost. Oh, cool. So I have a question already. Have you used this marking technique on any videos you've produced recently? I love that. I love that question so much. We're gonna jump into that question. Um, Gosh, I don't want to interrupt this, but okay, we'll do that question towards the end. But I have used this. I love using this technique, but I do find myself using several techniques quite frequently. So there's so many different kinds of workflows that you can try out. This is definitely one of the fastest, I would say. So if I'm in a time crunch, believe me, I will. I guess I answered that question. Oh my gosh. All right. All right, y'all. Let's get back to this. I'll show you some examples later. And so when we're looking at this here right now, what we're going to do is mark our in and out points. At times, we pick up the camera and we're not quite ready. We have this kind of shaky movement. And then second number 3 is truly the in point where we want to begin. Or potentially in this one where the fellow is dancing. So it's this guy here. We want to set our in point and our out point. I don't really like this part because I'm still gliding, but I like this right here. So I might set my in point by hitting the letter I right there and hitting the letter O anywhere else I want, right? Anywhere else it feels strategic. Now I'm currently in the source monitor. So when I get out of here, I'm no longer in that bin. So let's go back to our bin here, and I'm going to show you another way to set your in and out points. You can also just scrub over this video and set your in points just by scrubbing over that area. Same with this one. There's a timeline that is happening, right? So you can do in, I don't know if you can see it right over my arrow, and you have an out point. So you don't have to go to your source monitor at all. You can do it directly from here. Now, another pro tip here is that because we're using markers, we don't need an out point. The marker will mark the next clip. So we don't need an out point at all. We just need our in point. So I might say around here where there's a really cool flash, right? So let's hit the in point. Same with this one. Seems like I'm tilting in this one. That's cool. Maybe hit, I'm gonna let it, ooh, you see how it goes weird after that? So we don't want that part. Maybe here we do set an out, but we don't have to generally. So let's go here. This one's great all around. No need for an in point. Great all around. No need for an in point. I had it on a tripod. That's why it's great all around. I like this one a lot as well. So let's hit an in point there. Perfect. We don't want it to start when it's completely closed, right? That would not make sense. I love that this one is like panning out, which is really cool. We marked that one. And this one, I kind of doubled it and turned it horizontal real quick because it was such a quick moment. I was like, I have to grab this in vertical and horizontal. I'm not even going to stop recording. And that's what happened here. So I got to make sure to have this in point like this. Yeah, there right at the start. I love when he's like, so that's great right there. And maybe we do set an out point. That's fine. And then same for this. It's perfect. All right, we did that. So far what we did here is we organized our order, right? Based on topics. Again, the topics are transportation, location, establishing location, subject matter, and activity, okay? And this works perfectly well for a lot of different things, but traveling more specifically. Okay, so now that, and we've set our in and out points. Now that we've done that, we're gonna hit Command A. So we select everything, hit that tilde so we get out of here. And there are two places where we can play with this effect. So what we're gonna do is automate to sequence, and that's the fastest part. I'm teaching, so it didn't feel that fast, but just know that if you follow these steps in your workflow, you can do this. You can just do a bunch of videos at a time. So automate to sequence is the first step, right? And then now make sure that your marker is at the very beginning. That's going to be very important. It's going to start wherever your marker is. And here we're going to select, instead of sort order, we're going to select selection order because we organized it on purpose, right? We're going to put at unnumbered markers. So that's those markers that we created. Method is going to be to overwrite edit, so that if there's anything there, it's going to overwrite it. It's not going to push it over to the side. It's going to go right on top of it. In this case, we have nothing else. So just overwrite edit is fine. Use in and out points, perfect. And in this case, we're going to ignore the audio because we have our soundtrack, right? Our soundtrack is leading the storyline. So we're going to hit OK. And you can see how that appears now in our timeline. Right? And you can see each one. If I did a great job at these markers, it should be very in sync, right? So it's following each marker. So let's give that a play. Now, you might have caught that. I'm going to put this in full so you can see it in full glory, right? High quality. I have it in 1/4 usually because it makes my program run faster, right? So another pro tip there. Full of goodies this stream. Okay, so what we're going to do, okay, male person. All right, so those were my dogs saying hello. Thanks for your patience. So, okay, what we're gonna do here is in this section, you can see that everything is zoomed in, right? So that is because our phones today can create really high quality videos. So 4K videos at times. So a lot of these are filmed in 4K, which is kind of bonkers, right? So what happens here is that they're actually completely zoomed in. So if we go to the effects, we're going to go into scale, right? And we can scale it down. Right now it's at 100. We can scale it down, right? But that would mean that I would have to do this. I would have to do this to every clip. And I don't quite want to do that. Uma Corn says hi to my doggies. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't quite want to do that, right? I don't want to do each one. I don't want to have to add that attribute to each one. So there's several ways to going about it. We can say, okay, we set this one at 57. I can copy that motion and go into this one and paste that motion. But again, I'm doing it one by one. I can grab them all, right, instead, and right click and set to frame size. And now you can see that effects button has turned on, right? So that effects button is on. It means that we've added an effect to it. And now it's in its full wide angle, right? So before, after, right? Same for this one, before, after. And it just looks better, right? That's the intended composition. So let's play that again so you can really feel the song. Right, let's hit home, back to the beginning. And so you can already see how that is matching all of our frames. And it's great, right? So that was fairly easy. All we're doing is matching our sequence to our soundtrack. So I want to continue doing this throughout the rest of the markers. So how do we do that, right? We've got to make sure to have our marker be in the area that is not going to cancel out our other clips, right? So I have to hit the up arrow to go to travel throughout my timeline, throughout my clips. And so now I'm in that end position, right? So I can begin here. And if you want to really have a clarity of that, you can hit I there. So now that is your new work area. Okay, so I'm going to continue this here. And like I said, for some of these, I also have photos that I included. So in this one, I have these photos. We're going to follow the same steps here. So I have a folder. I'm going to zoom in into the scene by using my toggle right here and my special buttons and my tilde. So I'm focusing on this particular part of my workflow, right? That's important because there's so much to see all the time. So these are photos, these are not videos, but I love the scene. It's so beautiful. And so I can introduce some of these in here, right, as photos in the same exact way. So we can do that same exact effect for photos as well. So I'll click clip, and actually we're going to do it in a fast area, maybe right here where the markers are a little bit faster. Yeah, I think so. Let me see. And we're going to hit that sequence, automate to sequence that also lives down here in this little button, automate to sequence. We're going to go to selection order. All of our settings are already in place. Add unnumbered markers, override edit, all of that is in place. So I hit OK, and you can see they get included down here too. I'll hit that Shift Command C, which is my current shortcut for scale to frame size. And if you want to learn how to set up keyboard shortcuts, you go to Adobe Premiere, keyboard shortcuts, and set up any combination of keys that haven't been used for any other thing, and set it up so that you don't have to be right-clicking, going to the plays, and finding that option. So for me is Alt Command C. I found that one is very efficient, very close together for me to access it. So now we have these options here. Right? So that's going to match that area. So we have those photos. I'm not entirely sure those exactly fit, but that's okay. I'm going to be moving on to kind of get a sense of how the story is developing. So I'm going from here, and let's try a different city. Let's see how many we can cover here. I do have some horizontal scenes that I really liked. So I'm going to show you how to introduce horizontal scenes in here. I know oftentimes we film in horizontal because we want to repurpose for YouTube, because we want to repurpose for our client's website. There are so many reasons to always still have a backup in horizontal. And a lot of people say, well, I can't use them in a reel, but that's not true. So we're going to drop in. This is how I go about it. We're going to double click on one of our horizontal scenes. I'm only going to drag the video in here. I'm going to use those clips to set in my markers to really continue to set up the synchronization. And in here you can see, because it's 4K, it's super zoomed in and it works perfectly well that way. So if you wanted to use it this way, you can. Let's mute this so you can at least watch this part, right? That could work as well. But we want it in horizontal. So what I'm going to do is set the frame size with my shortcut and drag with Alt or Option on a PC, Alt on a PC, Option on a Mac, and drag it up the timeline. So now you don't see them there. They're all in the same exact position. What we're going to do is place them vertically. right? So I come from a graphic design background. So for me, doing something like this makes complete sense whenever an asset doesn't fit the composition, the work area. I think about how can I set up a different layout. This is the same as this adding photos to a magazine and determining where they're going to land and how am I going to tell this story, how am I going to display this article. So you just have to reinvent it a little bit, right? So as you can see, we have them now displayed vertically and give or take, aligning them a little bit differently so those gaps are exact. And what we're going to do now is you can see that we have the same scene, right? So let's see, let's play it here. And that could work. You can do 3 of the same scene, and that one looks really appealing and looks interesting. You got to remember that anything that lives on that third horizontal video is going to be really, that third horizontal video is going to be really covered by the UI of social media. So all the captions, all the profile pictures. So actually, Premiere has a template, so you can watch out for things like that. But just know that that third one is not going to be your hero shot for sure. But in this case, I want to introduce more horizontal clips. So let's go back to our horizontal clips and let's look at some of these here. I like this one too. So I love the drip of the honey. That looks delicious. I think I'm hungry now. Yep. Hungered. Triggered for sure. So let's see. What are we going to do? Are we going to do all of those steps again? Right? Positioning, set to frame size. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a different workflow that's going to be more efficient. We're going to drag that video clip over and hold Alt or Option and drag it into one of the clips. And there you go. Voila. It appears right on position, the correct sizing. It adapts to the attributes that I've already placed to the previous clip. So that's super cool because it just makes everything so efficient and also so much more adaptable if you want to reuse this template down the road, right? Just drop new clips each time. So I'm going to do the same thing here to this other horizontal video. And this one here is me slacklining in New York, which was cool. I like this intro, how it starts. That's super cool. I think I started right as I tilt. Well, I don't tilt, obviously. I think there could be the O. All right, so let's drag that in to whichever one you want in the center. Maybe I want this one in the center. So then now when I play it, maybe that was too short. I have to then move it over, right? So how would I do that? Do I have to go back and move it again? We don't. We can hit the letter Y and start dragging, scrubbing through that clip and try to assess, okay, where do I want it to start? Where does it showcase the best? I think I did it too far. Maybe here. Cool, right? So that looks way better. And I'm honoring the markers. I am honoring the composition. There's just so much going on here. It's so enticing because it's happening so fast and everything is visually like visual candy, right? It's like so much fun to watch some of these because they're so fast. Sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming for the editor because you're like, "Oh my God, this is going too fast." Right? We're accustomed to telling a story with a slow pace. It's a really, really cool challenge to try to do it this way, in a way too. It's been my experience anyways. So let me check in on the chat real quick. I feel like I've left y'all over there. There. I think you're a little closer. Oh no, okay, here. So we have some new we have Umakarn, we have Penny. I added this video to my YouTube playlist. There's so much good bits. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Penny. That's amazing. And some folks are saying puppy cameo. Clever saying woof. Yeah, they're always making it into my streams, and I never really know when the mailman's gonna come. It's like, it's too predictable at the same time and unpredictable at the same time. Okay, so let's see. So let's go back to this. Let's review our scene again so that we can start to see how we're compiling assets together. And we might not get too far here, but I wanted you to see how this comes together, how you can use some of these techniques. So using your cover as chapters, your topics, transportation, location, right? Subject matter, activity, and then aligning your horizontal scenes as well could be super cool. And all the while we're playing along a song. So what about we add a bit of a voiceover here, right? Like I can add a voiceover directly in Premiere, which is really amazing. So let's do that really quickly. Okay, so what we want to do is go into audio number 2, which by the way, we can rename to voiceover. Okay, I started that too early. So double click here, rename voiceover, right? And so let's start. Hey, let's like, I heard myself and I got slowed down. All right, let's start over. See, this is how it goes down. We do it over and over and over. Hey, let's take a look at 2023. Okay, so there I think I'm like double audioing because I'm placing it on both. So I'll remove that for you so you don't have to hear it. Okay, let's try that again. And I just hit Command Z to undo it, but you can see it goes 3, 2, 1. Wait, 3, 2, 1. Whatever, you know what I mean. So it's going to give you that countdown, and you just have to run throughout the audio track. You can do it over and over and over. So let's try that again. Hey, let's take a look back at 2023. Hey, let's take a look back at 2023. Filled with milestones, memories, and magic. Because tomorrow is abundant. All right, so hopefully that was good. So let's take a look here. Sorry, y'all, if that was like double echoing. Okay, let's see. Hey, let's take a look back at 2023. So I hesitated there, right? So what I'm gonna do is lock this track right here, lock all my tracks so that I can edit that audio real quick. So I'm gonna go here and make sure I can delete this. I'm gonna hit the letter Q to delete anything to the left. So now we're gonna start here. Hey, let's take a look back at 2023. That seems better. I can hit Shift Command K, delete that. Shift Command, we can hit Q and it goes back. But in this case, I'm fine with that. Filled with milestones, memories, and magic. Filled with milestones, memories, and magic. Because tomorrow is abundant. Because tomorrow is abundant is kind of the end. So I can drag this individual clip a little bit closer to the end and let the song be the thing, right? So I can separate these two. Now, the reason why we named it is going to be important. We're going to go into this really cool thing here. It's called the track mixer, which I'm pretty sure I have it open, but in case you don't, you can go production, audio track mixer. It says Shift 6. So Shift 6 takes you to the track mixer. So you can see here, it has a voiceover, right? So that helps us so that we can actually edit that entire track at once so that we can lower the volume if we want to, raise the volume, lower the volume. Hey, let's take a look back at 2023, filled with milestones, memories, and magic. So if those negative 4.5 dBs confuse you, just raise the volume, lower the volume. Fairly simple, right? Another thing I like to drop in here is a denoiser. We don't have a lot of noise here at the moment, but a little light denoiser helps, right? So let's look at that. I don't know why that's there. I wonder, close. Okay. And we have my favorite thing to add, per tip here, my favorite thing to add is the parametric equalizer. We double click, we have some cool presets available. So we're gonna add vocal enhancer. And that's great for podcasting. It's great just to like improve the quality of your audio. Oh my God. Don't do it. Send report. Okay. Well, let's see if that saved it for me or not. So I put send report because feedback is always important, right? Especially during those situations. So let's double click here because y'all, I don't think I saved. It's one of those moments that I don't think I saved. But let's see how well it does. Ooh, I want to open. Oh my God, it saved it. That's so awesome. Okay, so we did good. So we can go here and actually, I think this is the one I did previously. So let's hit Command U to make sure that soundtrack is on my external soundtrack, right? So that's listening to my headphones. Whenever you're wondering like, oh my God, my roommate is hearing me just scrubbing through all of these different clips. It sounds so annoying. Just put them on your headphones. Just go to Command U and change that audio to your amazing headphones and your roommate will be happy, right? So this I think is a previous one I did. Yeah, I love that. Let's see. Let's take a look at that. Hopefully you can hear it. I don't think you can hear it. Oh, wait. All right, we're almost there, folks. Hopefully this doesn't reroute you. Let's see. All right, so let's replay that for those few moments of technical difficulties. Gosh, so annoying when that happens. All right, so let's see. Let's play this from the beginning. So this isn't entirely complete. You're going to see the completed version on my Instagram, of course, because I want to invite you over to my IG. You know that. I love seeing y'all there. I love everybody who passes by, who leaves the comments, who says hello, especially when you share the work you do after watching my streams. It feels rather special. It feels like a full circle. So I welcome you to do that for sure. So quick recap before we get going, because I definitely think this was full of so many goodies. Hopefully this can inspire you to create a 2023 recap of your own. So remember, you have access to this template. You have access to this remixable Adobe Express title pages, right? I recommend that you organize your folders really well because it's going to make you a pro sooner than you think. And remember the topics. The topics are really important for me, I think. It helps tell a story fairly easily. You have to, if you ask yourself these questions, why are we doing this? Where are we going? Who is it? All of these questions can lead to, okay, let's showcase the transportation. Are we on a plane? Are we on a car? Um, let's showcase the location where we arrive. Let's showcase who it is. And all of these things don't have to be in the exact chronological order. That's the magic of storytelling. They start to get even better when you start to remix and just find a new way to tell a story, right? So definitely introduce these with soundtracks and voiceovers that can help guide your storytelling. And I'm just going to hit Shift 1 here real quick to see Command 1, I think it was. Yeah, that's fine. So I'm going to show you some of the work that I've done so you can see how I've developed some of my visual ideas, especially when it comes to social media. One of my goals is to expand on that in long form, which is going to be YouTube in 2024. So that's going to be really, really exciting. So for those of you who are familiar with my work, you can go to cynlagos.com and you can see some of the latest work that I've had. I recently got to work with Acura to not only be an ambassador for their event, but also produce the videos for other talents that they had on location. Ooh. And you can see already in that video alone some of the practices that we shared here today. The composition of the horizontal viewpoints, the different sequences that you can build to showcase and create even more interest in a very short amount of time. All of those things can become down the road something that you can collaborate with big brands on, which is like wild to say because I myself, I'm in this journey throughout um, the internet's amazing resources. I'm self-taught just like you. I imagine that you're here, with that discipline. And honestly, you never really know where it takes you. And just with that nostalgia of 2023, it definitely feels quite amazing to say that. So I welcome you to take a look at some of these incredible videos. This was my guide to visit the year in 2023. Maybe you can use your Instagram if you shared throughout the year to be able to guide yourself to see how you can build your video recap. Remember, we're going to be here all week, and this has been super cool already because I've been keeping up with everyone else's. If you want to look at more resources for learning, I welcome you to check out under classes, the Adobe live streams that I participated in. I love being here on Adobe Live and joining the Adobe Live community because y'all are cool, right? I'm wearing the hat. Cool kids watch Adobe Live. You know that's true. And so you can watch out all of the different resources. A lot of these are quite amazing. I feel like they really sum up a lot of these different practices. Look, this is a great one for videos. So definitely check out some of these resources in my website. I also have a series called Transformation Mondays that is now going to be something else. So stay tuned for that because I'm excited. There's a lot in the works for 2024. For those of you who have been big fans and keeping up with Transformation Mondays, they're also available for restreaming. And I love it. I love this collection. It has been super fun. I've grown so much throughout it. And finally, my classes on Skillshare. So this is my My way of telling you, there are so many resources out there, folks, to really expand on your skill set. And, oh, right, promo. This is my way of sharing with you folks that you can really expand on your skill set and try to find new ways to really explore a new medium, whether video is your thing, photography is your thing, right? There's so many ways to explore different things. And so check out my Instagram, keep up with our work here on Adobe Live, because everyone here remixes these ideas and I tend to see y'all online, and it's really, really awesome to see that. So that said, folks, remember this is an entire full week of streams. So keep up with the schedule and thank you for being here. See y'all on the other side.